Hello, everyone. I kind of want to talk about Chrono Trigger. I just finished it finally. The end boss was surprisingly hard without using a walkthrough. So I cheated. I did not finish it the gamer's way. I finished it the filthy, casual, only interested in the storyline kind of way. So big chunks of this game I played without a walkthrough. But when I hit the end part, the Black Omen, and then the last bosses, and again, I always kind of say this in these kind of game, book, film kind of videos. I find it so hard to talk about a piece of entertainment without spoiling too much. But since this A is a really long game and B, this is a old game, I hope I don't kind of ruin the story for anyone, but I will try not to spoil anything. So I finished this again. Huge chunks of this game I actually was able to play without a walkthrough, but when I gotten to the end of the game, I had huge difficulties at the Black Omen. For those of you who didn't watch my previous videos about Chrono Trigger, and maybe you're already sick of me talking about this game, but this game is amazing. I am the type of player who plays for predominantly the story and kind of enjoys playing games on rails. But this game was actually really easy to play without kind of getting lost in the world too much. You basically more or less know what you need to do until you get to the last chapter, and then you notice, oh, you kind of need to play some of the side quests to be not only equipped better, but then also level up a specific number. This game, in the beginning at least, it doesn't kind of force you to grind like in Final Fantasy games. For example, in Final Fantasy VII, I was actually grinding a lot before getting to the last boss. This didn't force me that much, so I didn't grind as much as in Final Fantasy VII. So when I got into the last chapter, the Black Omen, or that's the last chapter before the final boss, I had so many difficulties to just pass the first enemy in that stage. So I went to the walkthrough, and there was like, oh, okay, you need to at least finish a couple of side quests. And yes, the hints are there, but there are some of them at least aren't as easy to kind of get around. Maybe also my brain already shut down in terms of, okay, I want to finish those storylines again. I like to finish just the main story. So my brain sometimes switches off when it comes down to side quests. So I had to kind of read those walkthroughs and finish some of the side quests. And then I went through the Black Omen, did that without any problems, got to the last boss, and I failed miserably. I was being killed multiple times, and then again I had to cheat. I had to look at the walkthrough, and then while it didn't really help me, it at least gave me a couple of hints in terms of, okay, you need to use this specific armor to protect yourself against this and that. And that helped me. It took me a little bit of time, but at some point I was able to kind of plow through the last bosses and was able to finish it in a way. I just finished this like 5 minutes ago. I haven't watched the last minutes of the outro yet, but I try to play that through so I can get the ending plus, which this was monumental for that time period. You actually, if you get the ending plus, you can actually replay the game with all your levels and equipment in place. because this has multiple endings. So I'm really looking forward that I hopefully have the ending plus, and then I want to replay it again. But yeah, so long story short, I needed that gear to, or equip my characters properly to be able to finish this game. And as you can tell, maybe I'm really giddy that I was able to finish this. And this game is so good. It is amazing. The storyline is good. For the weirdest reason ever, this is pixel art. You really get attached to the characters. And although it is pixel art, you feel the emotions, the storyline, the hits, the music. It is such a good way, or it's told in such a good way that you really connect to the characters in the game. And this really emphasizes what I have been telling everyone in my last few videos about mental health. This gaming device helps me to get away from my phone, from my workload, from Teams notifications, email notifications. And it's only about those couple of minutes. I just want to play a couple of minutes here to dive into a story, get completely sucked into that story so that I can forget for a couple of minutes what I'm doing, what my to-do list is, to then reset my brain and get into work refreshed. And this game, the way it is written, the way it is made, and it helps you to connect to those characters and completely get lost in that story, in that game. And for that, I love Chrono Trigger and I love this device. I cannot kind of talk about this Anbonic RG35XX Plus. I can only repeat myself. I can only praise this because this helped me so much to get away from my phone. This helped me to reset my brain. And I really always kind of emphasize it's not about ignoring your problems, your to-do list and stuff like that. It is all about switching off your brain for a couple of minutes to reset your mindset so you can get into solving whatever is on your table, be it problems, be it work, be it your chores, your errands, whatever. You play a game for a couple of minutes, reset your brain, and you gain a new perspective on whatever you need to do. And for that, utilizing a gaming device like this to play for 10 to 20 minutes, it's perfect. And Chrono Trigger is the game for the last few weeks that helped me so much to kind of stay sane, because it is written in a way where I can get lost. The gameplay is so much fun, opposed to Final Fantasy VII, where you don't see the enemies and it's kind of a randomized situation when you get into battle. Here you see all of the enemies. So it's not as stressful in terms of, okay, I just want to play 10 minutes and, oh, there's an enemy. Do I have time? No, I don't have time. So you switch it off, you go back to work. With Final Fantasy, it's a little bit different because it's randomized. You just don't know when you get in the battle. Of course, when you get in the battle, you can still switch off the game, do a save, but it leaves you with something in between. You kind of want to finish the battle. With Chrono Trigger, because you see the enemies, it's not as stressful. It's easier to just, okay, I'm going to quit here right now, go back to work. That's why I really enjoyed this. And yes, the ending part was a little bit difficult because you really need to understand and think about how you equipped your characters. So it's not as to the end. It would be unfair to call this a casual gamer's dream, because it is a really good game with good mechanics, and for all of the pro gamers, let's call it that way, it's still a lot of fun. But in the beginning, it's a little bit, it's player friendly. You can dive in as much as you want, but from my personal perspective, it's also easy to kind of understand. But at the end, it kind of dials up the intensity, and then you kind of need to think about a little bit more harder how you prepare yourself for the last battle. And without the walkthrough, I wouldn't have been able to kind of do this. So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. Nevertheless, I love this game. This top 5, one of my top 5 games ever. Previously, it was Final Fantasy VII, but now I'm kind of thinking Chrono Trigger is a little bit above Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII has a lot of childhood memories, but this game now, playing in my 40s, it's amazing. Highly recommend. So if you haven't played Chrono Trigger yet, and you also consider, or you kind of like the idea of getting away from your phone to, get your mental state in a refreshed position by playing a game, maybe check out the Anbonic RG35XX Plus. It's a terrible name. Don't get me wrong. Terrible name. I will link it below. It's an affiliate link, but if you want to support this channel, you won't pay more, but a small kickback will get to this channel, and that way you help a lot. You would be amazing if you do so. Get yourself one of these devices, play Chrono Trigger. I think there is a Chrono Trigger remake for your phone, but again, for me personally, playing on a phone, it's not as easy because you always have notifications. Yes, you can switch them off. I totally know that. But when you are a freelancer like I am, it is hard to switch off notifications because you always are in work mode, especially in this kind of economy. You want to be available for your clients. So it's hard to just switch them off. That is why I opt to have a dedicated device just to stay a little bit focused on this one activity. And again, it's all about resetting my brain for those couple of minutes. That's why Chrono Trigger and these gaming devices, amazing. Highly recommend. And yes, I finished Chrono Trigger. Let me know in the comment section below. What is your favorite story-driven retro game that you would recommend to me to play? Again, from a casual gamer's perspective, who kind of likes to be a little bit on rails, or the game holds my hand to guide me through the story. What's your recommendation? I know many people recommend Final Fantasy VI. I started that and I do want to play it, but as far as I understand, it's one of the biggest Final Fantasy games, and I have a lot of fear is the wrong word, but respect to kind of tackle that story. I'm not really sure if I'm down to do that. But yeah, let me know in the comment section below. And maybe check out my other Chrono Trigger video. And I promise this is the last one. I gushed over Chrono Trigger a couple of videos. I swear this is the last one. Maybe the next one will be about the next game. So check out that Chrono Trigger video up here. YouTube thinks that you like the video down here. And don't forget to hype and like this video, and maybe subscribe now that my light went off by clicking the button up here, and then we see each other in the next video. Thank you very much.